Dear learner, let me introduce myself. Myself B.K. Patnaik. I am a professor and director of School of Extension and Development Studies. And School of Extension and Development Studies recently in 2018 July has launched a program, new program, a dynamic program that Master in Development Studies. So today we'll discuss about the Master in Development, MA in Development Studies. And as you know, development is a very dynamic concept. It is, and development studies is a multidisciplinary subject. As development has different dimensions, as you know that development is not like that of economic growth. And development has dimension like economic development, political development, social development, cultural development, human development. So there are many dimensions of development, and considering the development, we have in MA in Development Studies has near about 15 courses, and in this program the first course is Introduction to Development and Development Theories. The second course is Dynamics of Development. The third course is Issues and Challenges of Development. Then we have Gender Issues in Development. Then your Development in India, an overview. Then Development Study, Research in Development Studies. These are the first year courses. In the second year courses, we have all electives, and those are very contemporary and very relevant electives like training for development, management of development projects and programs. Then we have extension and development communication, then local self-government and development, health and development, and urban development. So these are the courses which are very, very relevant in the contemporary situation. And as you know that the development studies has been first, I think IGNOU is the first university to launch development study in distance mode. And whatever the courses we have chosen based on the grassroots experiences and with the help of the experts from different kind of institutions, from the traditional universities, from the research organizations, social sciences research organizations, from the NGOs, those who have practical experience and development. So this course is this program is very useful to the contemporary world, not only from the academic purpose, but from the point of view of what I can say competitive examination. Many of the students, those who are appearing civil services examination, either of the center or the state, they have also enrolled in this program. So today we will discuss MDV 103. This is the third course, that is Issues and Challenges of Development. So development, you see, when development came, the concept development came after 1945, when all the developing countries, all the third world countries, what is called, they got independent from the colonial rule. And before them, their concern was not of economic growth, because all the developed countries by that time, whether the Europe and the US, they had achieved already both the economic growth and development. But here, before the developing country, both the economic growth and development are more challenging, and development is more challenging because illiteracy was very prominent. Then housing problem was there, unemployment, poverty, inequality, insanitation, lack of safe drinking water. These are all host of developmental problems. And besides that, economic growth was low because there was complete dependence on agriculture sector, and industrial sector and service sector was very low. Their contribution to the economic growth was very low, because industrial development took place in India, particularly after the 1951, and from the second 5-year plan onwards. So today we will discuss, so there are many issues and challenges before the particularly the developing country, because developed country has already achieved both the concept economic growth and development. Whatever economic growth initially period they invested in the development process, in education, in health, in infrastructure development, and you will see the difference between European countries and the other developing countries of Asia and in Africa. So before the developing countries of Africa and Asia and the Caribbeans, it is the development which is more challenging. They have to promote the economic growth, and whatever gain they are getting from the economic growth, they have to spend on development, and that is not happening. So therefore there are issues and challenges. So what are those issues and challenges? You see, in block 1 you had basic issues in development, then sectoral issues. In what are the basic issues in development? Basic issues in development are population, poverty, inequality and unemployment, because these are basic issues, fundamental to development process. Any nation has to deal with all these problems. Then sectoral issues, as you know, we have three sectors. The first sector is primary sector, and it deals with agriculture and allied sector activities. The second sector is industrial sector, or secondary sector, is deals with industry and manufacturing, and the third is the service sector, that deals with other than those who are left other than the primary sector, like education, health, tourism, then you have information technology, you have personnel services, you have railways, you have aviation, all other sectors, those who provide the services, they are called the services. As you know, that service sector in recent year in both developed and developing country contributed highest to the economic growth. If you see the case of India, because now it is a time of economic slowdown, but before that service sector was contributing 57% to our GDP, and the agricultural sector 14 to 15%, and 27 to 28% being contributed by the industrial sector. Then the social issues in development, these are also very basic to these issues also haunting the mind of the developing country, because which are the basic social issues? Education, health and women empowerment. These are the key social issues which are haunting the mind of the developing country. They are investing a lot on these, on education and health, and if you have greater social development, it will have also economic and political development. All other development like economic development and human development depends on social development. And there are emerging issues in development and sustainable development now, and inclusive development. Now there is a focus on that we should include everybody irrespective of caste, class and gender in the process of development, and we should include all the laggard states, all the states, all the provinces of a nation in the process of development. They should not be whether it is a hill area states or whether it is a eastern state, those who are agriculturally, industrially and social backward, all those states should contribute towards the economic, and we should focus on the sustainable development. Because any development which we are doing today, we should see that future is secured. Future is not being adversely affected. That's why whenever we are doing development, we should see there is a coherence between population, environment and society. So they should work coherently, so that any increase in population or people, it should not affect the environment. Environment, society and population should interact in a coherent manner, so that future is not affected. On the last you see issue in development is the governance. As you know, the governance is the basic issue. We say that whatever growth, whatever gain we are getting from the growth, it is not being trickled down. Whatever money we are spending for the grassroots development, it has not been spent. Many studies are found that there are corruptions, there are for which development is being affected. So governance is a very, very big issue in the developing country. Even though all the international agencies like World Bank, Asian Development Bank, UNDP, they are focusing on improvement of the governance. Governance at the center, governance at the state, and governance at the grassroots level. So today what we will discuss? Today we will discuss basic issues in development, and I will take up one issue, one basic issue in development, that is population. You see, there are 4 basic issues in development in block 1: population, poverty, inequality, and unemployment. So today I will discuss on population. You see, everything starts from the population. You see, whenever population is a issue both for the developed and developing country. Even the classical economists like Adam Smith, J.S. Mill, David Ricardo, and Malthus, and even the neoclassical economists, they are of the opinion that population should be controlled. For the faster economic growth and development, the nations, both the developed and developing nations, has to control their population. But unfortunately, what happened? Fortunately, all the developed countries, they have controlled their population. They have attained the replacement level of fertility, and their fertility level less than 2. Even if you see the fertility in the USA, it is 0.6. So all the developed country and fertility in Japan, it is 0. That means they have controlled their population. But the population is a major concern in the developing countries, and so also India. And if you see that Mahatma Gandhi, what he said, there can be no two opinion about the necessity of birth control in India, because after independence also, in the first census 1951, we had 36 crore of population. You see, at that time also, and even J.R.D. Tata had said that the first thing a nation has to do is to control its population. So population is a major concern for the developing country, as the growth of population is faster in these countries. And if you see the world population milestone, that it is expected that by 2043, the world population will be 9 billion, and the world population clock says that currently the world has 7.8 billion of population. If you see the changes of population decrease and increase in median variant, if you see India, 572 million we are adding by between 2000 to 2050. And you see, we have even surpassed China. China is in the 5th position. The major change in population is the Asian and African countries. And population is a more concern for the developing countries of Asia, African and Caribbeans. So, and if you see the decrease in population, it is all the European countries. It is Italy, Japan, Poland, Romania, Germany, Bulgaria, and Belarus. All these countries have the adding the negative to the population growth. So population growth, population increase is a major concern in our country. India is leading in population increase. So let us see the population in India, and if you see the census 1951, we had 36 crore of population. Now in 2011 census, we have 121 crore of population. And if you see the current data says that we have 133 or 135 crore of population. That means we have increased our population by 4 times. It is a major concern, and both in rural and urban areas. And if you see the red graph, the urban areas, it is increasing fast. That means there has been migration of population, rural poverty-stricken population to the urban areas, and it has led to the growth of informal sector in the urban areas. And the rural-urban poverty, it is said that urban poverty is nothing but addition rural poverty. So this is a major concern. We have increased our population by 4 times. It is a concern. And if you see what are the features of Indian population, so we have currently have 135 crore population, and China has 139 crore of, and it is estimated that by 2025 will be the most populous country in the world. That means population is a major concern for us. And if you see if you compare India's population is more than 4 times higher that of the USA population, but land area of US is 3 times higher that of India. So this is you see how our population density is being increasing because of rise in population. And if you see the state-wise, UP's population is more than that of the USSR population, and Bihar population is higher than the UK's population. That means we have the states which have more population than other developed country population. And if you see that the population, while we are discussing population, the dynamics of population is more important. We have to know what are the dynamics of population. First is birth rate. What is birth rate? Birth rate is the number of births divided by the total population per birth per 1,000 population. Same the death rate, same the growth rate. The rise in population, it is also a major concern. If you see that birth rate of India is currently it is birth rate is 18.2 and death rate is 7.3, and growth rate is 1.13, and fertility rate is 2.43. Fertility rate measures the women in the age group of 15 to 49 giving birth, average number of children they are giving birth. And the major concern is infant mortality rate and maternal mortality rate. Still we have to control. We have controlled a lot with the improvement of the medical facilities, education and women empowerment. We have reduced the infant mortality rate and maternal mortality rate, but still these are concerns. Then sex ratio, it is another concern. Sex ratio means the female per 1,000 male, and if you see that sex ratio in India, it is 963, while in Kerala, as per 2011 census, Kerala it is 1,084. That means in Kerala, the women population is more than the male population. And on the contrary, Delhi, the sex ratio is 868. In Haryana, it is 871, and in Punjab, 895. That is falling short of female per male. It is not a population and demographic issue. It is a social issue. Decreasing sex ratio is a social issue. The state which have lower sex ratio, they will face in the long run. It is not that, because whatever the crime, atrocities against the women, it is these are fallouts of the declining sex ratio. So sex ratio is both a demographic and a social issue. Then dependency rate means the population less than 14 year plus population more than 65 years divided the working population in between 15 to 65 years. The dependency ratio in India, it is 42%. And couple protection rate, and how much people are controlled, because you see after the independence, and in 1977 we had the population policy where we introduced family planning to control the population. So couple protection rate is 57 percentage of couples, they are using various kind of birth control measure. But still in the states like Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, and those who have higher fertility rate, it is more than 3 in Bihar and more than 3 in Uttar Pradesh. These are the two concern states, bigger states, where we have to see how we can control the population fertility and promote the couple protection rate. So here I am giving an example. If you see that fertility rate, all the USA it is 1.3 and UK it is 1.6, Japan it is 1.5, and India it is 2.4. That means China, Japan, US and UK, they have attained the replacement level fertility, that is less than 2. But all other states, you see, all the Asian states and African countries, all the Asian countries and African countries, they have the fertility rate more than 2. But they are struggling. And if you see Zambia, it is 6.3, Nigeria 5.0. That means in African countries, population is a major concern, and so also in South Asian countries, Bangladesh, US, they have still to achieve replacement level of fertility. And I am giving you an example of maternal mortality and infant mortality rate. If you see the UK, you compare UK and India, the maternal mortality rate, you see in India, maternal mortality in UK, in India is 19 times higher than that of UK. UK it is just 9. And in India it is 170, although you have reduced to 130, the current statistics shows, but still it is a concern, maternal mortality. So also infant mortality. Infant mortality in UK it is 4, and in India it is 38. And if you see the maternal mortality in Kerala, it is just 8. It can be compared with the UK and the US. And in Assam it is 273. There are states like Assam, Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, and Orissa, all these states, infant and maternal mortality are bigger concerns. So we have to see which are the states, demographically backward states, so that we can act on fertility and mortality in those states. So let us move to the what are the factors affecting fertility and population growth. Because why these are things, why there is a demographic variation. That is, earlier we used to say the Bemaru states, but now it is demographically concerned states. How we have to deal with the demographically concerned state. The states having higher maternal and infant mortality and higher fertility rate. So what are the factors? The first factor is biological factors, because onset of puberty, you see, onset of puberty among or menstruation cycle among the girl children is being considered as one of the starting point of the marriage. Because most of the in rural areas, most of the illiterate and low literate people, they consider that as soon as there is a onset of puberty among the girl, the parents are worried to give the girls marriage. So that's why the age at marriage, although government has fixed age at marriage, the minimum age for girl is 18 years and for boy is 21 years. You will be astonished, in Kerala, only 7% of the girl, only 7% of the girl they marry less than 18 years of age. But in Bihar it is 39% of the girl they marry before the age 18. This is a concern. The states like Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Assam, Odisha, and all other states, we have to see Rajasthan, where all these marriage less than 18 years of age is happening. It is the duty of the parents, and it is the duty of the state, and has to see how they will effectively implement the age at marriage, how they can better convince through their grassroots functionaries to the people, to the couples, to restrict their to give the girls at the proper age marriage. So again is physiological factor. Physiological factor means there are certain factors, like you see now the use of infertility is a big problem in many states. Why? Because I had seen in Punjab, in a particular village, I find there are near about 20 couples, they are infertile. They have married for the age of up to 10 years, but they don't have child. There are, and we sometimes consider that women are only responsible. No. My study, when we conducted the study, we find that 48% are male are responsible, 52% are female. They are equally. Use of drugs, and there are several factors. Nutritional factor among the women, too much late as marriage, and abortion of the fast conception. All these there are many factors, socio-psychological factors affecting the fertility. among the so physiological factor is also. Then education plays a very important role. Education in general and women education in particular has played a very important role in population control. Then why Kerala has less fertility, less maternal mortality, less infant mortality? Because of women literacy. Women literacy rate is over 90%. That's why increasing the education, not literacy, level of education among the women, so that they know what is the worth of a small family. The parents should know what is the responsible parenthood. So these are the factors. The population, education, that is very important. Then status of women. Status, not only the social status, we have to enhance the economic status of women. When women will be economically empowered, they will have decision making powers. So they will take the decision how many children they will have bear during their time of gestation, or time during their period 15 to 49 years. So that is the status of the job. They must be behaviorally employed. Then family planning, that is another method, that the use of couple protection. As I told you, the couple protection rate, higher the couple protection rate, lower is the fertility rate. So if there is a promotion of different kind of family planning methods among the different age group of couples, then fertility will be reduced. Then another factors of population growth is traditional beliefs and values. Sometimes you see in the literate family, in the less educated family, particularly in rural areas, among the socially backward caste, they consider the son is at least a family should have a son to perform the rituals when the parent die. So while anticipating a son, they sometimes have more number of 2, 3. Now I have seen how a family after 8 girl children they have a son. So that is a traditional beliefs and values, that preference of the boy or preference of son over the girl, that also lead to sometime higher population growth and larger family size among the women population. So let us discuss, because fundamental to population is understanding the theories of population. So Malthus theory, first is the Malthus theory. Malthus was a very critics of the population growth. He was against that. In order to achieve higher economic growth and development of a nation, the population has to be checked. And Malthus was of the view that if population grows as a geometric progression, like 2, 4, 8, 16 like that, and if the food production grows at a arithmetic proportion, that is 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, so it will create a food deficit, and it will create crisis, and it will adversely affect economic growth and development. Therefore, Malthus was of the opinion that there should be positive and negative check on population growth. While he was talking of the positive check, he was saying that many people will die because of disease and starvation. Now, what is happening? You see this type of pandemic. At that time also, the classical demographers, they had warned that there will be positive check on the population, and pandemic, diseases, starvation, all this will happen. And the negative check of population, he was the use of family planning method and increasing the legal age at marriage. So both positive and negative check will act on controlling the population, and he was of the opinion that population should be controlled for the development, economic growth and development of the nation. Let us move to the theory. Another important theory is demographic transition theory. It is the most contemporary theory, and this theory says that there are 4 stages of transition of population. The first stage is pre-industrial stage. During this stage, there is less development. So because of less development and predominance of primary sector, so there is high birth rate and high death rate. And during this period, there was no medical facilities or health sector didn't improve to meet the situation. So the first stage of population is a stage of high birth rate and high death rate. The second stage is industrial stage, where the development takes place and including the health development. So people become conscious, and people, the health, because of healthcare service, availability of healthcare services, there is birth rate remains high, but death rate become low. So second stage, in the second stage, higher birth rate and lower death rate. And the third stage is the post-industrialization stage. In this stage, both the birth rate and the death rate become low. So because and it has happened in all the European countries, and in the few Asian countries also happened, like Japan, Singapore, South Korea, Taiwan, and even Hong Kong. Many countries this is happening. And the fourth stage is the globalization stage, and this stage says that we will have stabilized our population. When it is stabilization population, means NRR, net reproduction rate, must be less than 2 or equal to 2 or less than 2. So stabilization, even many countries have negative population. Country like Japan, they have negative population growth. So now many people, they have the argument, because it is a debate, what it is called the population debate. There many people, they have argued, no, population is not a problem. So population is unnecessary. Population problem has been heightened, because they had the argument in favor of they consider population as demographic dividend. If you see, because in India always many demographers or many even people, they use that India has a demographic dividend, because we have 65% of our population less than 35 years of age. But how you are using, because they consider if they are active, if they are skilled, and if they are free from morbidity and diseases, they will contribute to the economic growth and development. They will not be considered as a deterrent to economic growth and development. And if you have higher population, you will have adequate and cheap labor force supply. Yes, this is happening. Whatever labor force you are seeing in Delhi, in Punjab, in Haryana, they are from migrant labor from the Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Odisha, and many states, Jharkhand, because cheap labor, availability of cheap labor will lead to more productivity. Then enhanced labor market. That means you have a very wider labor market. You can utilize them, you can skill them, and you can get benefit out of them. So those who are in favor of population growth, they are of the opinion that if you have large size of population, you will have the enhanced labor market. So, and sometimes low population growth will lead to rise in old age population. What is happening in Japan? In Japan, there is less population, less marriage, no marriage, and it has led to negative population. It is a concern, population concern in Japan, and so also in many European countries. Where the old age population is around 20 to 25%. So youth population are not being seen. That's why there is a demand. There is a demand from Indian workforce to work in those countries. So low population growth is also a problem. And then finally they consider that human capital, because population should be considered as a human capital, human resources. How we are utilizing the population, that is a concern. Population is not a concern, but how we are utilizing the population, that is a concern, according to argument in favor of population development. And argument against population, you see there are host of argument against population, and this relate to the developing country. Poverty, if you see that the percentage of people living below the poverty line in Bihar and Uttar Pradesh is higher than that of Punjab and Tamil Nadu and Kerala, where population is less, fertility is low, and so also it leads to unemployment, it leads to inequality. Then problem of food security and hunger. If you have more population, then naturally those who are poor, those who are social backward, the states which do not have adequate natural money to utilize the natural resources, they will face the food scarcity. And even we had the hunger death long back, and even the statistics says that many people, million of people are suffering from hunger. So it's a problem in African countries, in many African countries, in Asian countries also. Then social development. If you have more children, it is obvious. If a family has a large number of poor family has a large number of children, they cannot spend a lot of money on the education and health care of the children. Then dependent population. When you have larger size of population, ultimately we will have more number of children in the age group of 0 to 14, and also children above the age 65 years. They will be dependent population, and if the workforce participation is less, then dependent population will be more burden to the population. Then it will lead to crime and social evils. What is the migration of rural population to the urban population? It is being seen those who are staying in the slums, informal settlements, informal sectors, and there is a rise in social crimes and social evils, and the finally population is silent to the environment. It will lead to environmental degradation. So why the cutting of rising population in the Himalayas? You see why frequent cloud burst is happening in Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand, because we are cutting the trees, we are harming the environment there. The rising in population and is causing environmental problems in these states, and it is also affecting all other states in India. So the thing is that now how to control the population. So these are very obvious. You have to increase the level of education and literacy. Then women empowerment. Human empowerment means their economic empowerment, their empowerment to take decision about their reproductive health, the number of children they will have, the rising age at marriage. You see, if you see the average age at marriage in Kerala and Tamil Nadu, it is more than 25. In other states like Bihar, it is around 18, 19. So this is a concern. So you have to incentivize the population. You see, sometimes China had one child family norm. They practiced for so many years, and they got the result. Now they have fertility less than replacement level, 1.6. Then formulation and implementation of population policies, because we had population policies, but we are not implementing religiously, and states should have its own population policy and see how they are implemented effectively. Then community participation, Panchayati Raj institution, youth club, Mahila mandals, self-help group, they must come forward to see the population is a national state family concern. It is not a concern of particular individual. They should see that how their population is controlled at the family level, at the society level, at the state level, and the national level. The community participation, it is not the government role to control the population. The community should come forward to see that how we can control our population. Yes. Then there are certain issues and challenges of population growth and development. As I told earlier also, population growth in the hill and forest areas is the cutting of the forest by the poor people. It has been, several studies says that poverty lead to harm to the environment, does harm to the environment. So population, growth of population will cause environmental disaster, environmental degradation. Then we have to delayed marriage and less marriage. This is a concern. You see in Japan, because there was a discussion, there was a study that in Japan there is delayed marriage, less marriage, no marriage. It is a particular concern in European countries and Japan. That means their population growth is decreasing, and it is decreasing in a very negative manner. So for them it is a concern. How to have more population is a concern for them. They are motivating their youths and to get married and have child. So this is a demographic which we call the second demographic transition in the developed world. Then another thing we have to see that the another thing that have come over in the globalization era is the same-sex marriage. Population, you see gay marriage, and these are happening because these are the demographic challenges, because this is going to happen. You see, this is going to happen because as the you see job market and many economic and social psychological issues are coming to the society, and we are in the globalized world. Most of the developing country and developed country will face these kind of situations. How to deal with this kind of situation is also a problem. And last, that we should not live in a very comfortable zone that population is a demographic dividend. It is certainly not. It is certainly not. This kind of situation like corona and all these things, the country having more population, they have to face a lot of crisis. India and China, they have to provide employment, and population rise in population will give rise to poverty, growth of informal sector, and these are all challenges of population. And these are 4-5 challenges which the nation state, this is a concern both for the developed and developing country. It's not that developed country they have been free from the population challenges. They have the different kind of population challenge, and developing country has a different kind of population challenge. There they have to see how they can increase population, optimize the population, and here the population have to decrease, particularly decrease the population growth rate, and so that the nation didn't face so many developmental problems like poverty, inequality, housing, safe drinking water, sanitation, and all the infrastructure development like road, electricity, cooking gas supply. All these are concerns, because it is and government has to invest a lot of money to manage the development process. So population, so as I told you, population is a challenge and population is an opportunity. Opportunity means where we can utilize, we can we will skill the population and utilize them. Opportunity, that means how we will have a optimum population growth rate, and where we have to see if a poverty-stricken family will have large family size, it is a concern, and a state economically laggard state will have more population, it is a concern. The migration is not solution, it is required, but the thing is that what has happened, you see, all the laborers, migrant laborers, those who are from UP and Bihar, they have eastern UP and Bihar, they have migrated to other states. On the contrary, their development process of those two states are being affected. How you are utilizing your population, that is the main concern of development. So this is all about population and development, and in the next session we will deal with poverty. Thank you. हो गया?